Nomads of Central Asia had founded many powerful states in history that took various regions by storm. The Xiongnu, the Huns, the Avars, and of course, the Mongols. However, a major problem with these states was their succession laws. Seljuks, for example, expanded rapidly, invading Anatolia and Persia. However, once Sultan Alparslan died, his realm was divided between his sons and other relatives. Soon enough, the Seljuk Empire was nothing but a dozen dynasty members fighting each other for power. This was not going to happen for the Ottomans, however. When Osman died, his sons agreed not to divide the realm, contrary to the nomadic traditions, and Alaaddin, the younger son, left the throne to Orhan, who had the support of his father's warriors and commanders. Before we get to the video, please subscribe. We are very close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, which will allow us to monetize our content and make money of our work. Enjoy! As soon as Orhan became the Bey in 1324, he picked up his father's swords where it fell and restarted the conquests. Orhan Bey maintained the siege of Bursa, which had been ongoing for almost a decade. Bursa surrendered 2 years later, in 1326, as the city's food ran out. The residents were granted safe passage to Byzantine lands in return of a hefty ransom. Orhan entered the city in glory. Bursa was now the largest Ottoman city and was consequently made the capital. Orhan also minted coin in its name, becoming the first Ottoman Sultan to do that. The title of Sultan-e-Azam was printed on the coins, meaning the Grand Sultan. Orhan then sent his commander Abdurrahman Gazi to conquer the fortress of Aydos. Aydos was well fortified and was built on a steep hill. The castle guarded the path to Bosphorus and had major strategic importance. According to the Ottoman historians, the castellan of this fort had a beautiful daughter. This lady dreamt about a handsome man and was immediately struck with the love of this unknown man. During the siege, the lady saw Commander Abdurrahman among the Ottoman troops and realized that this was the man she saw in her dreams. She immediately informed Abdurrahman, telling him about her dream, how she wished to marry him. At night, the lady opened the castle gates and let the Ottomans in. The fortress fell quickly afterwards. Abdurrahman and the Lady of Aydos got married and lived happily ever after. Of course, we do not know how much of this story is true, but we do know that Lady of Aydos betrayed her father and then married the Ottoman commander. With this victory here, Ottomans were gaining the control of the Asian side of the Bosphorus. Meanwhile, Orhan himself gathered a large army of 10,000 and marched on Nicaea once again. This city was besieged by Osman numerous times, however could not be captured due to its thick walls. Orhan intensified the siege and started starving Nicaea. Hearing of this, to protect this city with religious importance, Emperor Andronicus III mustered the largest army he could and marched to relieve Nicaea. The Byzantine army only numbered around 4,000 men. Half of this force was made of professional troops, and the other half were conscripts. This was the largest army the Eastern Roman Empire could muster, and it wasn't even half of what Orhan had. Orhan left a small force to keep Nicaea under siege and camped on a mountainous path leading to the city, in modern-day Eskihisar. When the Byzantine force met with the Ottoman army, Emperor Andronicus decided not to engage his foes in their superior positions on hilltops and started waiting instead. Orhan tried to lure the Byzantine army to its mountainous position by sending small groups of horse archers. However, the Byzantines did not fall for this trap and held their ground. Minor skirmishes lasted till the evening, when the Byzantine army attempted to retreat. It was clear for the emperor that he could not beat the numerically superior Ottoman army in their defensive positions. However, Orhan was not going to let the emperor go unharmed. Ottoman army attacked with Orhan's orders and charged on the Byzantines. Two forces clashed, and it became immediately clear that the Ottomans had the upper hand. The situation got disastrous for the Byzantines when Emperor Andronikos was wounded and fell from his horse. His forces, thinking that he was dead, fell into utter chaos. Ottoman cavalry then ran down the disorganized Roman soldiers and slaughtered the whole Byzantine army with ease. However, Emperor Andronikos managed to flee. The Battle of Pelakenon was one of the most influential battles of the region. With this battle, the few soldiers the Byzantine Empire could field were slaughtered, and all hope to protect Asian cities was lost. Following the Ottoman victory at Pelakenon, it was clear for the Nicaeans that the end was nigh. The city had been under siege for 3 years now, and its residents exhausted. Yet the city kept resisting for another 2 years. Finally, in 1331, governor of Nicaea came to Orhan and surrendered his city. Upon taking it, Orhan started a massive Islamization process. Several mosques and bathhouses were built, which clearly showed that the Ottomans intended to stay in conquered cities. Orhan also appointed his wife Holofira or Nilüfer as governors of city, which presumably helped integration of the local population, as Nilüfer was a Greek herself, as we have covered in the previous episode. By 1332, the only major Byzantine city left in Asia was Nicomedia. That year, Orhan set out to besiege it. However, the Ottoman force was pushed back by forces led by Emperor Andronikos. Upon this setback, Orhan decided to wait for a better opportunity and agreed to cease further aggression on Byzantine territory. In return, Emperor Andronikos agreed to pay a yearly tribute of 2,000 golden coins. For 5 years, this treaty held. However, Orhan was merely biding his time. His opportunity came in 1337, when Emperor Andronikos left to fight his foes in Albania during a civil war. Orhan quickly capitalized and mustered a large army. Nicomedia was defended by a Byzantine princess, Maria Palaiologos. Her brother Kaloyan, meanwhile, was the governor of nearby fort, modern-day Yalova. Orhan's men stormed Yalova and executed Kaloyan. His head was then transported to Nicomedia, where it was put on a spike, visible to the defenders of the city. Seeing her brother's severed head, Princess Maria surrendered her city to Orhan. She had no hope of a relief as the emperor was far away in Albania and the city was running out of food. The princess had no appetite to fight a doomed battle. Thanks to the princess's decision, the residents of Nicomedia were spared and Orhan peacefully entered the city. With Nicomedia gone, the last Byzantine major city in Asia had fallen. The loss of Nicomedia put an end to Byzantine military activity in Anatolia. It had taken 37 years for the Ottomans to take over a handful of Byzantine cities in Asia. This, although successful, was no great accomplishment. In the conquests of Bursa, Nicaea, and Nicomedia, Ottoman armies fought outnumbered and unorganized Byzantine armies. Yet, these campaigns dragged on for decades. This was due to Ottoman incapability in siege warfare. Ottoman armies, much like the Mongol armies, were made of tribal horsemen. These men would join their sultan's armies in the campaign season, and after a season of pillaging and raiding and fighting, went back home for winter. This made it impossible to maintain long sieges. Moreover, these troops would be lightly armored. Although highly mobile and capable in the open field, they lacked siege equipment. It was clear that the young Sultanate needed a professional army to wage war more effectively. Here, Alaaddin Pasha, Orhan's brother, formed the first professional army of the Ottomans. Peasants from captured territories, both Muslims and Christians, were recruited into the ranks, and this infantry force was named Yaya, which literally meant infantry in Turkish. The state paid wages to these soldiers and gave them lands to live off of. A dress code was also implemented on Yaya troops to separate them from the tribal warriors. Now, this force was nothing comparable to the European men-at-arms or the later Janissaries. They were lightly equipped troops with limited training and skill. However, Yaya would play an important factor in Ottoman warfare until the establishment of Janissaries and would be a precursor to Central Imperial Army. Formation of this army signified Orhan's aim at building a centralized state rather than a feudal one, which was the norm all across the world at the time. Orhan, now equipped with a new army and the riches of Nicomedia, Nicaea and Bursa, now was more ambitious than ever. Across the narrow Gallipoli Strait, his man now could see the continent of Europe, with its untouched riches and green fields. New horizons awaited him, right where the sun set. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and maybe a nice comment as well. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.